Let me just do mine. Hello, 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 hello. And you do yours quickly.
Hello, hello, hello.
Go for it again.
Okay, 1 second.
Well, at least we didn't record the whole thing. Shamanamana.
I don't know who's making the levels go up more, you or me?
I think it was me. I think I went supersonic then, but kill the music, Joe. I'm not sure if we're going to get sued for playing that, but
By the way, that song on YouTube is the X-Files theme for Illuminati song in brackets.
Hello and welcome to a Beardo and a Weirdo talk film. Halloween special.
Now I've had enough of that. It's starting to hurt my voice. Before we go anywhere,
Yes.
I've got to take umbrance with something that you told me last week. Last week, we were discussing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you said it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't.
It was so incredibly bad and terrible.
For a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, it wasn't that bad.
The 90s ones are incredible where they're wearing the rubber outfits. They made...
Oh my God.
I was wrong last week because I said that Michael Bay directed it. He didn't actually. It was some other guy, but he did produce it, obviously, because they made Shredder look like Megatron.
Yeah.
Because he has to make everything look big and shiny. I can't decide if the Turtles looked really good or incredibly bad.
Yes.
It was somewhere in... they seem to change depending on what sort of...
For the source material they had, 4 turtles and a rat in the sewers, it wasn't that bad. It's like the Power Rangers film. That's actually not looking too bad now.
Oh, God, that's going to be awful.
If I told you
Splinter did look really shit, though, didn't he? The creature design for Splinter was awful.
Oh, Splinter, what, the rat?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. It was horrible, but...
It's just such a...
If you go off the source material, to put that into a film that was like that, it wasn't too bad.
Oh, it was pretty terrible. I mean, I'm definitely not going to bother watching the sequel now because it really put me off. It didn't have any funny bits in it. The big thing about the 90s films is, yeah, they look corny and that, but there's a lot of humour in it. In this, the only thing that made me laugh is when they were in the lift and they started like making up a little beat and that. That was quite cool.
Yeah, they put that in the trailer though. So I did think the thing about that in the 90s is that it was popular in the 90s and it's not as popular now.
Yeah, I think if I rewatched it, I haven't watched it since I was about 10, but
yeah.
10-year-old me thinks it was brilliant. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. But
okay.
Anyway, how's it going? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, boy.
How are your feet? Are they okay?
Yep, my feet are fine.
We have just watched the Logan trailer, and I've got to say, this looks pretty fucking badass. It's going to be a 15. Deadpool has done so much to open up that aspect of superhero films, I feel. You get to see him stab somebody in the head.
Yeah, in a trailer. That was pretty cool. But it's interesting to see what they're doing because I don't know if he'll die at the end of it. I thought he was going to die. So this is his last Wolverine film.
Yeah, I think if you counted it like cameos, he must have played Wolverine at least 10 times by now. Surely, near enough.
Yes, easily.
It's got to be close.
He's done like 3 spin-off films, and there's about 6, I reckon, X-Men films he's been in.
There's X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, First Class is in that as a cameo. Days of Future Past is in that. He's in the most recent one, isn't he? Apocalypse.
Yes.
He's mentioned in Deadpool, but
and he's in this one.
Yeah, so it's near enough 10. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. I like that they've made him look a bit more grizzled and vulnerable.
Well, I'm 99% sure that this is him. He's older in this one. His healing factor's kind of stopped because in the comic book, the storyline of him dying is around him being old, and his just healing factor's just kind of stopped or reached a peak. However, in that book, most of the characters are owned by Marvel. So it makes sense that they're not even attempting that storyline because they'd have to replace a lot of characters. It kind of
not give them their real names or likenesses.
Yeah,
just have to change it slightly.
It kind of looks like he's looking after a young girl with super mutant abilities.
Super mutant abilities. Check.
Rumored to be part of the Weapon X program.
That seems totally believable. There's a guy who looks a lot like Draco Malfoy with a robot hand.
Yep. I think the storyline is he resurrects the Weapon X program. She's part of it, and she sort of escapes, and she's kind of like mini Wolverine.
Mini Vereen. But yeah,
Patrick Stewart's in it. He's looking old and dying, and I think they're in the desert for most of it, which makes it seem like they're hiding. So
he's got quite a low key look, hasn't it? It doesn't look like a proper over the top.
Because he's bald.
No, not because of that. I wasn't talking about his hairstyle. I'm just saying
He's just got a boring round white face.
it just looks like it's going to be the one superhero film made in the last 4 years that doesn't just end with a baddie summoning some giant space tornado.
Well, I think Wolverine... Did you watch that Japanese one? Wolverine Origins, where he goes back to Japan and has to fight that massive
That was the Wolverine.
CGI turd monster.
Yeah.
Made of metal. It was just horrible.
It just looked like Shredder. Yeah, that first half of that film I thought was quite cool because it was almost like a sort of crime thriller, wasn't it? And it had a decent vibe. But then in the end, it just turned into just the same old nonsense. That's the problem. If they'd have just kept it with that vibe and made it a bit more of like just sort of like the crime thriller aspect, and then it... Hey, I mean, this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm excited.
No, he's got a lot of
Next year.
scars over his body as well in this one.
So that
so
obviously shows that
yeah.
he must be starting to lose his healing factor to some degree. Yeah, looking good. And also, something that everybody's aware of by now, definitely, is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This is only a short trailer, though, like just over a minute.
It's a teaser.
Oh, it's a teaser, but it gives you what you want, doesn't it? A bit
More comedy, yeah, a bit of comedy. Dave Bautista. Stop kicking the mic stand. Dave Bautista having a little joke about, like, you need to find another person as pathetic as you. Seems like they're stopping the Gamora Star-Lord love line, which is good, I think. I think that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And
just talk straight into the mic because you have a tendency to drift off all over the place.
well, I'm an active man. Yeah, no, it looks good. They can't really mess it up. James Gunn's doing it again, isn't he?
Can't quote me on that, but it seems likely that yes, he is.
Yeah.
We'll just say he is for the sake of it. No, I'm sure he is.
Groot's still mini. I'm sure they'll sell lots of things because of that. And he's
Bobbleheads.
wearing a little Star-Lord leather jacket at one point.
He's so cute. Oh,
pretty
look
cool.
at him. He's a cute little Groot. But yeah, like you said, there's not a great deal to really say about it because there wasn't a lot there other than just the one seed, really.
Yes, there really wasn't much there.
But other than that, is there anything you've watched or seen that you'd like to mention?
Quickly, news. Tim Miller, the guy who I'm 99% sure he directed Deadpool.
Yep.
And he's also in it. I think he's the bar owner.
I think that's a different guy.
I think that's TJ Miller.
That's TJ Miller.
Yeah. Tim Miller, he's not doing Deadpool
Similar,
2.
though.
I think him and Ryan Reynolds had creative differences, so
Yeah, that's
which is interesting.
We'll wait to see how that pans out. When is Deadpool 2 coming? It's not next year, is it? It's got to be, 2018, I guess? At the earliest.
I think so, earliest.
It wouldn't be next year, would it? I mean, I don't even know if they've started filming it yet. I guess they haven't if they're having creative differences.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, who knows? I'm still somewhat optimistic.
Donald Glover has been cast as young Lando Calrissian in the upcoming Han Solo film.
I think a lot of people have been mentioning him.
And
haven't they?
everyone's reacted because he's good. He's good, he's funny, he's a good actor.
He's got that sort of...
He seems to only choose stuff that he's actually good in. I don't think I've seen him do a bad performance yet.
He's got a bit of moxie, as they say. So,
Ooh,
yeah, he's got the
A
charm
bit of confidence.
to be the dashing young Mr. Calrissian. But yeah, it's all good news, bro. It's all good news.
Do you want some bad news?
What's the bad news?
Assassin's Creed has another trailer.
How's that bad news?
I didn't think much of the first.
You didn't
one.
like the first one?
Yeah, it's alright.
But
I just guess it's because I don't like Assassin's Creed that much.
I played the first couple, but I haven't played them in a good 5 or 6 years. But I like the idea of it. But from what I read, I read an article in a magazine, and they were saying that basically there's only 3 separate scenes set in the past. I don't know how long, but 3 sections which are set in the past. I think it might only be 20 to 25 minutes of the whole film.
Right.
So that's a bit because you really want to see
yeah, you want to see
ancient
him
man diving around.
Armblade man.
Because I know he
diving into hay bales from 10,000 meters.
You see him fighting in the future as well, but that's not as interesting.
No,
not as interesting at all. But that could go one or two ways. Who knows? I mean, in a couple of months we'll be able to tell you, won't we?
Yeah, I guess we will.
Shall we shuffle on to our top 5?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the film news from this.
The theme is Halloween type films or scary films. So they might
films.
They might not necessarily be
these are
typical Halloween films.
These are fully opinion. I'll state that at the top of the show because 100% there's going to be a film that I've not watched, and someone's going to be like, "You didn't mention this film in your top 5. Why not?" I haven't watched every single horror film in preparation for this.
No, to be honest, I don't watch a great deal of modern horror films. I'm more about all the classics.
You're
going to find out because I think everything I've mentioned is either made in the 80s or 70s.
Yeah, well, mine are a bit more modern than that. I think 2 of mine are in the 70s or 80s. The rest of them are kind of modern. The only thing I'll point out before we start is how bullshit these lists are that film places do. Because I did a little bit of research, sort of wrote up about 10 to 15 of my scariest films. And then I was just interested to see how other people sort of rated them. So I went on like lists of top 25 most scary films, and it was ridiculous. I did, like the top 5 were films that I'd never heard of ever before. They'd put stuff like, have you seen Drag Me to Hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not scary. It was originally a comedy film, and
It's
eventually
sort of like a
it just got
dark
turned
humour,
into
isn't it?
yeah. That was in the top 5 of a top 20 most scary movies of all time, and I was
That's
like,
pretty ridiculous.
why? Why?
But I'm not. It's not just scary. It's like your favourite. It's not the scariest movies. It's
So
your favourite of the scary movies.
I've sort of my number one pick is based on it's probably the first 18 scary film I saw, and I saw it quite young, so it kind of like it scared me pretty bad.
Yeah.
And sort of ever since then, I probably have seen a film that's scarier, but where I've been a bit older, it's not as scary as it was.
Yeah,
So
it
there's
depends
a
on
little bit
the
of
time,
personal opinion on it. But anyway, yeah. So should we
the
start?
format is top 5s. We'll count down from 5 to 1, and if we both have the same film on our list, we'll just discuss it there and then. But we'll just go. We'll zigzag. I'll do my 5, then he'll do his 5, then we'll do our 4. We're only going to spend like 3 or 4 minutes on each film because obviously we don't want to make this super luba long like the Jurassic Park episode that no one's listened to because it's an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, it's way too long.
That was
Don't
ambitious
worry.
in episode 3.
We're cutting it down.
We've cut it right down. But yeah,
Chop, chop, chop.
shall I start with my number 5?
Well, on a top 5 list, that's always a good place to start.
I will start with a film that was made, I believe, in 1979 by a Mr. Ridley Scott. In space, no one can hear you scream. It's Alien.
Yeah,
Is that on your list as well?
It's on my backup list.
But it's not in your top 5.
It's not in my top 5. No.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about this film because I think it's in my top 5, but I just think it's got such a great production and design. I mean, the spaceship now does look like a model, which is what it is. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about the creature design.
The creature that's scary. That's why it's made. Yeah,
The cast and the concept, like the cast as well, is great. Sigourney Weaver has like created one of the best heroines of all time.
absolutely
She
yes.
portrays it fantastically, but for me, it still is it's that the concept of the creature, just that egg. It's sucking onto John Hart's face.
Yes.
The face hugger to me, I think it's one of those things where I mean they designed it to especially to like scare men as well.
Yes.
Like the idea that you're actually basically like being face raped and there's nothing you can do about it because it taps into like
I found that funny. Sorry.
you just face rape is not funny, Joe.
Face rape in space rape.
Especially when it's like a parasitic organism that's mainly made out of what does he say?
Bones.
Bones, and
No, I don't know.
your
sorry.
hands look a bit like a facehugger, but yeah. But the actual creature is amazing
that
itself
quick.
as well. That was a guy in an outfit. This dude who was like 7'6" or
Really?
something, and it was insanely
Oh
skinny.
no, you mean the alien?
Yeah.
You just said the face hugger. I was
I
like,
know.
what, the face hugger was a little like midget or something.
When it's in the egg, it's actually someone's hands moving around.
yes, yeah.
But when obviously it comes out, it's more like a animatronic or whatever. But yeah, just the way it kills everybody
wait,
off.
when he bursts out of his chest.
No, that's a little puppet. No,
That's not a puppet. That's like a dildo on the end of a stick shaped like an alien. They're just underneath it, pumping it up and down.
pump the dildo. But yeah, it's just everything about it. It's the tension. It's
Yeah.
one of the first films to have that really like secluded, you're stuck in a place, and it's quite an interesting place. Space is an interesting place in space.
Space is an interesting place.
And it's just so like dark and it's just like haunting.
Just that first scene where she comes face to face with it, and it that thing comes out of its mouth, the alien, the little thing comes out. It's just dripping in like space
it's all
goo
the
as
goo in
well.
it. They use loads of
Oh,
KY jelly
God.
apparently for that.
Yes, it just does look. Is the same guy that did the alien that played Predator? Because I swear it was sort of the same kind of guy that was playing all these. Like he's 7 foot tall. Gangly.
No, this is a slightly different dude. This was an African guy. The one you're thinking of, I think his name is Kevin Peter Hall.
Right.
And he basically just built like, he was a bit bigger and built like a basketball player, whereas this guy was like freaky because he was so tall but so skinny. He was like Peter Crouch but
Yeah.
a foot taller. But yeah, I mean, it's just a classic film. Do you want to move on to your number 5?
Yes, my number 5, Paranormal Activity.
Oh, the original, yeah?
Yeah, the first one. Oh yeah, the others are just crap after that. Sorry, like they slowly get worse. But yeah, it was good. It reignited the whole found footage. I have got Blair Witch Project on my kind of backup list, like with Alien,
Yeah.
because Blair Witch Project was like the first sort of found footage film. Kicked off a genre, died a little bit, and then Paranormal Activity just kicked it back up again. It reignited the found footage That's why most scary films now are like found footage because
Nearly
of paranormal.
all of them are.
Yeah, because of paranormal
Including
activity.
the 6 Paranormal Activity sequels that they've made.
Yeah, it just freaked me out. It just freaked me out. Just everything in it. Like when the Exorcist comes into the house and he's just shit scared. That's quite good acting. The fact that it's basically all filmed in the house. They don't leave the house. The sort of the bits where it's not filming any humans. It will just be an empty room. And it'll be an empty room for about 20 seconds and nothing will happen. And then that ramps up the fear in you a little bit. And you're just like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then all of a sudden, like, a door will just slam. And just slowly through the film and the further on, it's all in October. It's all in 1 month, I think. It just slowly ramps up. And then, like, when she gets dragged out the bed, the bit where, like, you can kind of... You can tell he's standing next to the bed. Just because they like using a string or something to pull like the bed sheet up and down.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. This film is really good, and it's such a shame that all the sequels have been so terrible. But it's a bit like the Blair Witch, like you said, in that it just had that because it was so different and it's so simple, and like even some of the effects, they just like well done. I think this is one of like in terms of profit, I think this is one of the most profitable films ever made. I think it was made for like about $500,000. And it made like about 200 million or something.
Yeah, they barely spent any money of it all, and I think that's just the makings of a kind of good horror film, is that you don't spend any money on it.
Yeah, like that's what you can do with your limited budget, isn't it? I guess really, but yeah, it's freaky. Like that little chicken foot mark and stuff like that.
Yes, and they've tried to make a good story out of it, but I think if they could have just got it into 3 films, it would have been like a really good trilogy. But they've really just tried to sort of, it was Paranormal Activity 2, then Paranormal Activity 3, then it was the marked ones,
Then it was the quiet ones, then it
and
was
then
the short
it was
ones, then it was the big
then
ones.
It was Paranormal Activity, Back with a Vengeance, and then it was. But it's all based around the kid Caleb now or something. But I'm not following.
It's become
it.
so warped. I mean, they've done films that were set before, are set alongside it. They're just trying to rinse it, aren't they? But on the whole, yeah, the first one was a pretty damn good film. So, are you ready for number 4 of mine?
Yeah, sure.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4 is gonna finger you up the bum.
Wow.
That is my number 4.
This is my number 1.
Is it your number 1?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. Should we discuss it when we get to your number 1?
We'll discuss it when we get to my number 1.
So what's your number 4?
The Ring.
I have not seen this film, and I'm actually I'm slightly too scared to watch it.
It's just so good. I can't rate. I can't rate it enough. It's based on a Japanese film.
Ringo.
Basically. It's based on a Japanese film about a woman who's trapped in a videotape. Really simple concept. If you watch the videotape, you'll die. And it's about a kid who watches the videotape, and his mum's like a journalist. Yeah. She sort of goes through all this freaky sort of journey to try to find who's trying to kill her son, basically. But like the whole scene where he watches the video is really creepy. He watches the whole video, and then the phone rings. And basically
7 days.
Essentially, yeah. And as she goes through the film, she's sort of seeing stuff in the film because she watches the film. She's sort of seeing stuff in the films. There's like I have not watched it to research this, but there's little bits like there's like a ladder up against a wall, and she sees like that exact scene in real life as it gets closer to when she's going to die. And at the end of the film, it's obviously the creepy Japanese girl crawling out of a well very slowly.
Yeah, that is freaky as fuck.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video of that girl doing it? There's a video going around at the minute. This girl dressed up like her. She's
really?
going down this corridor, and it's just so like terrifying because the woman who actually plays the character, I believe, some sort of like
contortionist.
Because she can proper move her body in like freaky ways.
And
it's that hair as well, isn't it?
There's a scene where she's watching the film again on her like journalist editing equipment, and she's sort of there's like something out of frame. And she essentially gets like a whole frame out of the video, just like a location or something. But there's like a fly, and it comes out the screen. It's just like little things like that. It's really freaky. And like she gets on a boat, and all these horses are freaking out. The main character in it as well, like the girl. She's just scary as hell. She's a really good villain, not villain, but scary character in a film.
A ghoulish looking woman, but yeah, I haven't actually seen that. I've always sort of pussied out of that, so I might have to watch it. Jess won't watch it though because she said it freaked her out.
Yeah, it is a freaky film.
Especially, well, it's the thing, it taps into something because obviously we all have televisions now. It's one of those things that it taps into like a lot of these films. They just tap into like your actual fears, which is the whole point of the horror film. But especially like in modern stuff, like there isn't that much that's been around. I mean, I know they've tried to make films that have like been based on like people like Facebook and stuff, haven't they? Like
Yes,
unfriended and that.
yeah.
But they just haven't had anywhere near the same impact.
It's,
but just the simple thing of watching a videotape and like being able to pass it on that way.
I mean, it probably won't have as much effect on you because you've probably seen 1,000 like parody scenes of it, of like a creepy girl crawling out the TV.
Well, there was that Scary Movie one, wasn't there?
Yeah, but what if you just imagine watching that for the first time and not having anything to reference that by, it's just like a really classic horror film scene.
Yeah, scary. So,
Go on.
Are you ready for my numero 3?
Yeah, your numero
I'm betting that it
tres.
might be on your list anyway, but it's
Your mother sucks cocks in hell, Karis.
The Exorcist. Is that on your list?
No.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, I believe this was made. I can't remember the exact year. I'm pretty sure it was made in the 70s by William Friedkin, I think it was the name is. And we all know the story. It's the girl that gets possessed. She starts stabbing herself in the vagina with a cross, going, fuck me, fuck me.
It made me laugh.
Well, I think the thing is now, because it does look so dated, it is going to make you laugh. But when it's like you said, in the time and the place, seeing that in the 70s, this girl spewing green goo.
Yes.
Have you seen that like deleted scene where she crawls down the stairs like a spider?
Yes,
But,
I
How
have.
freaky is that?
Oh no, that is. They should have kept that in the fucking film.
That is so bizarre. But yeah, it's just, and I don't know, it's just something so cool about it, and just how like she's slowly going mad. And what's crazy is how long it takes for like any sort of scientist or anything to say there's something more wrong with her than just these experiments when she's like floating above the bed and moving stuff around.
Yeah,
That's the thing that seems a bit ridiculous.
that's a
Like, wouldn't
scary
someone
movie.
contact the news and like the world would know about this?
That's a scary movie as well, isn't it? I think there's a scary movie where there's a parody scene of her and she's just like, where she's some like sex crazed demon that's tied to the bed.
To be honest, I haven't seen all the scary movies. I've only seen the first one's my favourite by far.
I get it that it would be scary, but because I watched it quite recently, I just found it funny. Like where I think a lot of other horror films and comedy films as well have sort of like spun off it, and I've been influenced by that. I can't watch it and be scared.
That's one of the things that I'm sort of gutted about. Like, I would love to have been like in the cinema to watch Alien, to watch this, to watch so many other great films, because there's a different experience as well, seeing it with other people, isn't it?
It's one of them films, I think, as well, where you've had an experience like that with it, where you'll never ever have another time where you've not seen that film and get to experience seeing it for the first time again. Because every now and then, like, a film comes along that you're like, oh, I want to experience that again. But even if you watch it again, because you know what's going to happen, it's never going to be as good as the first time.
Yeah, there are certain films. I mean, like some films you watch and it is just as good, but other films. But yeah, I mean, I think the performance is great. It does look a bit dated, but I don't think it looks that bad, really, considering how old it is. It's like it's got to be like nearly over 40 years old, maybe. And it's just disturbing, I guess. It's just the way that you see it all just go fucking mental, quite frankly. But yeah, that's my number 3. What's your number 3, boy?
28 Days Later.
Interesting decision, my man.
I know.
Interesting.
It's scary. It's probably the scariest zombie film. It's
running down the road.
It's genuinely probably the scariest zombie film I've seen. I can't think of a zombie film that's scarier than it.
I mean, I haven't watched a great deal of zombie. I've never really been into like Day of the Dead and all that really old stuff because it just looks so dog shit.
Yes,
it's a bit of a waste of time, isn't it?
I think the original Dawn of the Dead comes pretty close. That's pretty scary, but it is scary. The zombies in this are terrifying. They are absolutely terrifying. And
some of the people aren't much better either. That's the thing.
He wakes up like in the middle of sort of war-torn London. London's just ripped to shreds, and that scene where he's walking over one of the bridges, and London's just an empty mess.
They had to film that at 3 o'clock in the morning for like half an hour at a time. How crazy is it that they've got an empty London?
Yeah.
London never ever looks like that other than like. And they still must have to try and clear some of the people off the streets, but just for it to look like that, it is incredible. When you think it wasn't a massive film either, it must be because everyone loves Danny Boyle.
It kickstarted. Well, it didn't kickstart because he was already doing films. It sort of ignited Danny Boyle as a filmmaker. Because after that, he went on to do like 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later. I just did that. 127 Hours and Slumdog and the London Olympic ceremony.
It's
terrifying. If you go and watch it, you'll be probably more sort of scared than you realise. Like, some people probably just think it's an action film, but it's just not.
There's more tension because you realise that these zombies can actually catch you and they're not just bumbling around. I mean, I know in like all recent films, zombies pretty much seem to be running as well, but this is the first one to actually really introduce that that sort of rage thing, and the fact that they aren't so much rotting corpses as they are just like they've got like that insane rage going on, aren't they?
They literally the first scene where he walks into that church, and there's about 100 of them in there, and just one of them just sort of turns its head,
Well,
and
that crazy
like,
priest is just running at him.
yeah, and they all just run at him like 20, 30 miles an hour, and he just has to. It's scary.
Yeah, that is freaky as fuck. One of the bits that really disturbs me, you know, he's like fighting that soldier.
Yeah,
and he like pokes his eyes out.
yes,
That is pretty grotty, isn't it, man?
yeah, and
that's pretty filthy. That's like Game of Thrones.
The whole bit sort of where they're talking about repopulating and they're talking about like raping the girls and that. That's pretty bleak.
It's dark, man, isn't it? Because initially you think, oh, they're going to look after him, and then they're like, no, we're going to use you to
we're going to use you to repopulate.
Christopher Eccleston's gone insane with his soldiers. The soldiers always have to go crazy, didn't they, in the zombie films?
Yeah, every zombie film, yeah.
Have to just decide to rape and pillage everything. But yeah, it's another great film, man.
I did think you'd find it weird on the list, but yeah, it's good. I'd like it.
We're now up to my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Johnny.
That's my number 2 as well.
Oh, great minds think alike.
Yeah.
This is just Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece. Apparently, Stephen King isn't that great a fan of it, but
really,
let's be honest, most of Stephen King's books aren't that great. He's got a few that are amazing.
Stephen King just sits there and just writes. I'm surprised he has time to watch a film.
Like the length of books is written as well, but if you looked at his actual back catalogue and you looked at before pretty much anything like after 1980, there isn't a lot of great stuff there. He did all of his best work early on. But he still is like pretty much the biggest author in the world, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he can churn out a story and a good one.
He's like a billionaire, I believe.
Absolutely, he's got to be. You think about all the films that have been adapted from his books: Misery, Shining,
Christine,
Streetcar Named
Carrie,
Desire,
It Again.
It Again. They're remaking it, aren't they?
There was one called Cell that came out that was shit. I think it was Room 1408, a Stephen King one as well.
I think so. Yeah.
It
was. But that
there's
was
so many. We're
film.
missing quite a lot of them. There's so many.
Yeah, there are. He's definitely a billionaire. But actually, no, he can't be a billionaire. Because I swear J.K. Rowling was the first of.
Well, he's got hundreds of millions. He's got.
Yeah.
But yeah, this film is awesome. Obviously, it's all about Jack Nicholson in this.
He's so good.
He's just so good at being insane. And he's a bit of a horrible bastard, isn't he?
This
Really?
was
Even
Stanley
before he
Kubrick's-
goes crazy, he's still.
Oh yeah.
You see the hints of him like abusing his child and
Well, it's just
the,
sort of.
the alcoholism.
It's a troubled family, and he's sort of been forced to take this job for the money. That's sort of the backstory, isn't it? Just a custodian of like a big palace that's cut off to everything for like 4 months.
that like hotel is incredible. I don't know how many different locations they used or whatever, but like the corridors and just like the sight of it.
The maze.
It is an incredible looking
Yeah.
place. However they built it, if it was just one like.
I think it is an actual.
I think the
place.
exteriors is an actual,
Yeah.
but obviously normally interiors they like use studios and that. But yeah, I mean it's basically only really like a 3-person film for the most part, isn't it? The little kids I think's awesome as well.
Yeah, the little kid's good in it, and so's the woman. Like when
Shelley
she's
Duvall, she's proper freaking out. But apparently when they was making it, like Kubrick was a right bastard to her, and like her hair actually started falling out and stuff.
Someone refused to ever work with Stanley Kubrick again.
I think it might have been her.
No,
I think he needed to go for a mental breakdown. But apparently he was like insane in terms of like making people do like 100, 200 takes and that.
Yes.
But yeah, this film is just so iconic. I mean, you've got Here's Johnny.
Yeah.
You've just got the what is it?
All work and no play makes Jack a dull
where
boy.
is the little kids peddling through the hallway, the 2 little girls standing there, the elevator of blood, the maze,
the woman that's like really attractive 1 second, and then she's like
turns into like
the ugly as
hag witch. Yeah.
when it turns out the barman he's been talking to is a ghost.
Oh, those bits are so cool as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like you, Lloyd. I always have.
it's just seeing him get slowly more and more insane throughout the film, and he's just
One of my favourite moments is just when he's sitting like at the end of the bed and his mouth's like slightly ajar and he's just like looking proper crazy, like just like gurning. It just looks so freaky. But
when she sort of walks into the room and she sees the typewriter, and then there's a lightning, and then it's sort of is it not written round the room, or am I thinking of The Simpsons?
you're thinking of The Simpsons.
no, but when she goes up to the typewriter and she sees the page,
It's just
and
pages and pages and pages
just
and
pages and pages of him writing that, and I think that's when she sort of starts to realise he's kind of going insane. And yeah, it was Shelley Duvall that refused.
I mean,
work
there
with.
was hints at that. There's hints all the way through the film that he's starting to go crazy. Because I think there's a point where she goes and says she's made him some breakfast, and he just like is a proper bastard to her and says like, "Why don't you just fuck off, or whatever? While I'm trying to do my work." And she's obviously just like quite a feeble character for the most part until like the end, because she just sort of takes it, even though he's a dick to her. I just like the bit where they're going up the stairs and he's got the baseball bat. And he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your fucking brains.
That was the scene. He made her do 120 takes of that.
That's crazy.
And he just like made her crazy like in that. She refused to work with him. Absolutely refused to work with him.
But yeah, this is obviously one of the best horror films of all time. I mean, it's not like over the top. I think like two people die in the whole film. I think that you actually see
like 3 people in the film.
Yeah, obviously.
No, the twins are really scary. The actual design of the hotel's pretty insane as well. Like the floors and that, and it's pretty. And when the elevator's open,
that's what I said. The elevator of blood. How freaky is that? But yeah, it's a goddamn masterpiece. We've now reached that time.
Well, we know what my number one is already.
Number 1.
Should we do my number one first, quickly?
No, we didn't mind because everyone knows it.
Do it then.
Yours is still a mystery.
Number 1. Go.
Nightmare on Elm Street. So good. So good.
I watched that again the other day. People forget how scary it is.
Yeah, no, that's
because he became such like a joke of a character in all the other films. This film is like fucking messed up.
Yeah, it really is. It's just I think I watched it when I was like 11. It's like an 18.
It just disturbed me for the whole year. When you see like
the scene where when the person's in the body bag, it's just scene when someone's in the body bag.
He's just dragging him along.
School.
Yeah,
he's in school. He's awake, and oh man,
he's just dragging the body bag along.
Yeah.
Oh, that is pretty crazy. All the bits like you know where he like starts coming out of the wall.
Yes.
And she's starting to fall asleep, and then he goes back in, and then in the bath as well, where the hand comes out, and then it just disappears into the water. That's so cool how they like blend the dream and the real world.
It's pure psychological terror, and whenever they go to sleep as well, the dream world's just like fucked up in terms of like just scenery. It's fucked up, and the nursery rhymes that's made pretty good. Like,
yeah, that's probably one of the most iconic bits about it, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the kills in this are just so brutal. Like that first girl who dies, and she's like getting ripped all along the ceiling, and just exploding in the blood. And then the guy that gets hung with the thingy, with his bed sheets. That's pretty cool as well.
And it's all like it's because it's sort of younger people as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
In it,
Johnny Depp gets sucked into like a blood geyser, doesn't he?
Yeah,
just gets sucked into the bed.
Oh god, it's just that sense of just they can't escape it. They literally can't do anything because he's getting them in their dreams.
And it's everything in it. It's the claw hat, his hat, his
the character,
jumper.
and his whole backstory as well. When they find out that it's because their parents killed the janitor
because he was a child killer.
Because he was a child killer, and he's come back to sort of haunt their children. And there's it's one of the only horror films where it's like the people that are getting antagonised are the people that haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah, they're getting punished.
They're getting punished because of their parents.
That's the Simpsons episode was actually on today, the Halloween
one.
Oh,
is it?
Yeah, the one where Willie gets killed.
Yeah, that was funny. After. That was pretty funny. But again, this is another one of the films where it's so old, it's been parodied so many times. Yeah. And also they made about 14 of them.
Oh, it's ridiculous, all the different ones they made.
The only other one I kind of liked was number 3, Dream Warriors.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any of the sequels. I've seen Freddy vs. Jason. I think that's it. That was just
that's the problem with times with films of that era though, like Jason, sort of Friday the 13th. They made too many. They just
started
really
blitzing them, didn't they? And they became
They
just became like jokes.
They really tried to stretch them out, and I don't think anyone would remember a Nightmare on Elm Street film past the 3rd one.
I don't think anyone would. I mean, I've got no desire whatsoever to watch that remake they did about 5 years ago.
No,
so I'm with Jackie O'Haley, the guy who played Rorschach, and I think he would be good in it. But apparently they like make him into like a paedophile in this one.
Yeah,
which is just like, why do you need to do that? He's killing kids already. What's worse? Like that just seems like something where they're just trying to make it even darker. But part of what makes a Nightmare on Elm Street original, especially Robert Englund's portrayal, is that he is scary, but there's like a sort of campness to it.
Yes,
there is an element of humour there. Whereas if you're just making him into a dark character who's a paedophile as well, then this is just some horrible shit. That how can anyone get any fun out of this?
And he's sort of face design, like his face where it's all sort of burnt. Like the makeup of his makeup in that is really good.
Yeah,
and apparently he's a really nice guy. He does
nice,
like a lot of.
He does all like Comic-Con.
He does a lot of conventions and stuff.
Well, this has been his career, isn't it?
Yeah, apparently he's just like a really, really nice guy.
It just happens to kill people in their dreams.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, but yeah, right.
But yeah, that in terms of just shitting me up when I was younger, that film just always sort of got a good place of scary films.
Yeah, that's cool, man. My number one.
Wait.
Oh, can we go for my number?
Do a little bit of tension. Ease them in.
I don't think it's what you think it is.
I was trying to drum roll. Go.
I've gone for what is probably in my top 5 films of all time. It is 1982's The Thing by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I love The Thing so much. It's brilliant. Kurt Russell has a fantastic hat on. There's a spider head monster. This is like, for me, this is possibly like the greatest concept. And I mean, The Hateful Eight that came out recently, I heard an interview and Quentin Tarantino was saying that The Thing was pretty much the biggest influence on that film in terms of, because you don't know who anybody is. Although obviously they aren't going to turn into monsters.
Yeah.
The fact of being in like a secluded location, the snow,
Yeah.
Kurt Russell again.
Because I've not seen the whole thing, and that's probably why it's not on my list.
You haven't seen the whole thing of The Thing?
No.
Oh man, it's so good. I mean, it is very beloved, but I don't know if you'd love it quite as much as I do. But it's just that concept of just finding this alien that's frozen in the snow. It can be anybody. It turns into anything. But when it's like absorbing stuff, it just have the craziest creature effects.
Yeah.
And,
Is this one of the first films that sort of made it of if it absorbs something, it gets some sort of trait?
Oh yeah, well this one, it can be more than like one person, but it sort of like absorbs them, but it only has to like touch them sort of.
Right.
But then it does like sort of, it like consumes them in some weird way. So like when it gets burnt, it sort of starts turning into all the forms it's been into. So it turns into like a half dog, half man, half spider shit. So that's like really interesting, like some of the effects. Have you seen the scene where the spider head falls off?
No. Oh, wait, yeah. No,
it's getting burned and like the head's just stretching off.
That's what I mean. I've seen little bits of this film where they've been linked online.
And I just think yes, the special effects in some ways do look a bit dodgy, but they're there. I mean, just how the hell do you... Like, this is 30-something years ago, and they had, like, this head that looked fairly much like a head. And they're moving it around. Like, animatronics have always blown my mind. I've got no idea how you do that. I mean, I'm a simple man anyway, but...
Robots.
And I've listened to some interviews with the guy who did the effects, and he basically said, like, a couple of times he was really close to just, like, poisoning everybody. Because obviously they're trying to get these effects, and they're trying to get, like, this melted look, and they're, like, melting plastic and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're, like, they end up, like, nearly creating mustard gas and stuff.
Wow.
Because of chemical reactions and stuff. But, yeah, I just love this film so much.
Yeah,
You need to watch it, dude.
I will. Isn't this the one where if they put like a hot paperclip in blood or something?
Yeah.
They know. Yeah, I've seen
poking the people's blood and
but
that. Yeah.
the way you're describing it, there's an X-Files episode in like the first season of X-Files that's like exactly that.
Well, they obviously stole it from.
They definitely stole it from the thing. But there's like 4 of them in like a snow bunker, and there's like some sort of weird alien thing, and it sort of gets transferred between all 4 of them, but they have no idea which one's the alien.
Yeah, I think they. That sounds like a direct rip-off.
It literally is. Other than the fact that it is actually something in X-Files, it's sort of like an omnipotent being. It can just transfer between them. But yeah, that sounds like a rip-off. But as I said with the list things, this came up so many times. I know it's a classic. I know I should have to watch it. I will watch it.
I've got to watch The Ring as well. We should have a Thing night soon. That's what we should do.
Yeah, you can watch my Ring.
The Thing, always, mate. I'll watch your Ring.
The Thing and the Ring. The Ring Thing.
The Ring Thing.
The Ring Thing.
Yeah.
Horror Night.
Top 5 Halloween films are done, as they say. I feel like we've covered some. I mean, it's quite interesting that we haven't just literally mirrored each other's. You've put in a lot more modern stuff.
Yeah.
I'm obviously, I literally just went for 80s and 70s because that's just my favourite era. But I can also see how there are some great like modern horror films as well.
Have you got any films that didn't make your list? Sort of scary films you think deserve a mention but sort of didn't make your list?
Yes, I think Halloween, obviously.
Yep.
Because it's like the original slasher. As far as like in terms of big name, John Carpenter again. One of the greatest living directors. Just that concept of like the tracing shots of a guy in the background and the way he's stalking people, you can just see how many different films this has influenced. And his music as well. I mean, if you look at it now, it does look incredibly dated, but it is what it is. When you think that this was one of the first films to do that.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of iconic characters from films that if I watch the film now, I'm not scared of them. So sort of like, Freddy, Jason, Mike Myers, like Texas Chainsaw.
That's how can we not mention that?
Scary film, but again, if you watch it now, not as scary. Like
it does look so dated.
Hills of Eyes.
Oh, I still haven't seen Hills of Eyes. Apparently, the remakes are so disgusting. Like,
yeah, it
awful.
is. It is messed up. I've not put it in my list, but it's definitely up there.
Apparently, the original was
scary.
really messed up.
I've not seen the original,
especially considering the time it was made as well.
But the characters in it, where they've all been like fucked up from nuclear radiation, their faces and that are just disgusting.
They just want to rape everybody, right?
The setting, yeah, they just literally just want to rape them, and the whole fact of you think that they've been stranded, but it turns out that they blew their tires out on purpose.
And that's just what they do.
Yeah, that's just what they do. As well as The Wicker Man.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen
The
Wicker
first
Man?
one?
Yeah, the original
No,
Wicker Man.
I haven't.
Fuck me.
That's
Not the one with
weird,
Nicolas Cage in it.
Not the birds! Not the birds!
There's a scene with bees, and that's just fucked up. But it's the whole thing. The whole film is
Christopher Lee, obviously.
the idea of the Wicker Man is, and I'm sorry I'm spoiling it for you, but you probably should have seen it by now. But it's a detective that goes to an island to investigate a murder, finds like the most weirdest sort of
like culty people
incesty bred people.
They're made out of bread.
Incest bread.
Oh,
And
my favourite
people,
type of
they're all
Ovis.
just, this whole village is just a little bit fucked up, but they're weird, but they're just quirky characters.
Yeah.
He's sort of on his own, doesn't know anyone, and just at the end of the film, it's just like, throughout the film, it's sort of like the Wicker Festival. They're talking about this thing. He has no idea what it is, and at the end of the film, there's just
burn him in that
the
giant
whole
effigy, didn't they?
village just walks him up to this Wicker Man that's about probably about, it looks like it's 50 foot tall, like it is tall,
Yeah.
and he's just screaming, he's going mental because that's when he realises that they've built it for him.
Yeah.
And he sort of, because I think he realises he got sent to investigate a murder, and that's how the person got murdered. I'm not sure if that's how the person got murdered, but I can't exactly remember it, but either they made it up to get an outsider in to kill him,
Yeah,
or there was an actual murder. I'm pretty sure that's
they
what
just
happened.
want to get him in to kill him.
Oh man, it is so. It's not scary throughout. That's why I didn't put it on my list. But when you get to the end of the film, it's one of them ones that's ramped up.
Freaky as hell.
Other than that,
Just one other film that is Halloweeny. It's not really that scary, but I think it's just a great Halloween film. It would be Sleepy Hollow by Tim Burton. I really quite enjoy that. I think he made it quite interesting. Christopher Walken's great as everything. You don't get to hear him talking his funny voice, unfortunately. That'd have been. But yeah, Johnny Depp, the whole vibe. One of Tim Burton's better films, especially in recent times. But yeah, that's just a little mention. But I think
We are nearly done for
think we are done.
Halloween.
and next week we will be reviewing Doctor Strange, I believe.
yes, he's French.
Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strong.
Dr. Francois Strong?
It's Doctor Strange.
Doctor
We have Wi-Fi. We're not savages.
Yes, we need Wi-Fi references.
No, yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. That will be good. I looked at it earlier. It's got 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, I don't want to know.
That's not a spoiler.
No, I wanted to go in it with no expectations of what anyone else thought of it. Because
No, but not all the critics. Not all the critics would have seen it by now. You dick.
no, but no matter what you say, when you see like either a really good review or a really bad review, it completely changes your opinion.
You're such a Puritan. I'm not telling you the fucking story, am I?
Sorry, it's a doctor who's strange. But anyway,
Doctor
guys,
Strange.
thanks for listening. We are on Twitter, Facebook,
Yep.
YouTube.
Oh, well. We'll be opening a Pornhub channel soon, won't we?
You'll have to try and find us because my face won't be in it.
When we do,
Can you identify me by my gaping arsehole?
when we do the "Your Thing in My Ring" video?
Yeah, that's going to be very different.
I think that's gonna make the teaser.
Yeah. That's the door.